We're going to be looking at everything about the 1960 to 1969 dimes. The 1960 dimes that are worth money, that you should always be on the lookout for. We're going to show you what to look for on those coins that can make those coins valuable. So let's just hop right into it and check out these rare coins that are worth money. Now first off, let's start with a 1960 Denver minted dime. So here on the reverse, if you look at the bottom of the torch, you may see a D mint mark. If you do, you want to look for this, a re-punched mint mark. Now you can see your coins up close like this with a USB coin microscope, which I have available on couchcollectibles.com. Now here is that coin that actually has that RPM, that re-punched mint mark. So that will give the coin some value. Of course, these coins are also 90% silver for the 1960, and this coin does have a high grade of a mint state 66. Now this dime here sold for over $360. Now if you have a 1960 proof dime, definitely look for this. You can really see it on the eye and the end. The doubling, this is a double die obverse taking place, doubling taking place on the front of the coin. So we can see that here on the date 1960 itself, as well as on the designer's initials, a JS there. So very, very noticeable doubling taking place on the 1960 proof coin. Here's some more examples of that. The word Liberty, should always be on the lookout for that. Very, very noticeable doubling on those coins. So here is actually the 1960 proof dime that actually has that double die obverse. So here in the coin slab you can see it says DDO, that's the double die obverse, doubling on the front of the coin, and then it's graded by PCGS at a proof 68 deep cameo. So it is a very high graded coin, which will also give the coin a lot of its value. Now this dime here sold for over $900. It's actually almost a $1,000 dime, sold for over $990. So very expensive dime. Moving on to a 1963. Now we looked at the front of the coin. Now here's actually the business strike, so regular dimes that that is not the proof dime. So this is a 1963 D. Look for doubling on the flames of the torch as well as on the lettering. You can see there on America that being doubled. So always be on the lookout for those. Now this coin here, it's got some amazing toning to it, but it also does have that double die reverse as well, and it's got a high grade of a mint state 66, which will also give it value. Now this coin here sold for over $325. Also, don't forget to look for an RPM on the 1963 Denver minted dime. So here's an example of that. Always be on the lookout for those. If we move on to the 1963 no mint mark, look for doubling on the front of the coin, on the lettering as well as on the date, the initials. Look for the doubling there on the front of the coin. You can see there trust and the date 1963. Here is that coin that has that doubling on the front of the coin, and this coin here sold for over $40. So nothing too valuable on that coin. But hey, you never know. Always be on the lookout for that doubling. Now here is a 1964 dime. Now this does look like it's damaged. It looks like someone intentionally did this to the coin. However, it was struck on a defective planchet, which we can see in the image displayed. And that is actually a mint error. So that will give the coin some value. Again, this 1964 is 90% silver, and this coin sold for over $300 US. Now here's a 1964. Now let's back up to this picture. So for the 1963, look for doubling here on the reverse, and also here's an example of that as well. Now here's an example of 1964 double die reverse. So always be on the lookout for doubling on those coins, because it can give your coins a little bit of value, in some cases a lot of value. Now this coin here is a 1965 dime. Now what's unique about this dime is that it was not supposed to be silver. That was the year that they started producing non-silver dimes. However, in this case, this 1965 dime was actually struck on an old silver planchet that the 1964s were struck on and prior. So that is going to give the coin a lot of value. A very, very expensive dime here. This 1965 dime sold for over $8,000. $8,000 dime. On your 1968 Roosevelt dimes, you want to look for doubling on the front of the coin. So look for that on the lettering as well as on the date itself, 1968. Now here is a 1968. Now these again are not silver, so these are regular 1968s that you can find in your pocket change. You can look for double die obverses. Now looking at dimes really does man, it really does get to you after a while. It really hurts your eyes just because you're dealing with such a small coin. Even under the microscope, you know, you get tired of those little small coins. I like looking for half-dollar errors. Now this coin here sold for over $75, so nothing too valuable, but definitely an awesome coin. Now, I've talked about this in a lot of other videos. This is a 1968 proof Roosevelt dime that is supposed to have an S mint mark. So these proof coins were supposed to have an S mint mark. This is actually missing the S mint mark. As you can see above the date, it has no mint mark. So that will give the coin a lot, I mean a lot of value. This coin would probably change your life because the coin sold for over $48,000. That is a lot of money. Could you imagine? What would you do with $48,000 if you found a coin and you could sell it for that much money? What would you do with the $48,000? I know I would probably pay off student loan debt and use it to put on a down payment for a house or something, or invest it in something, make it worthwhile, you know. Now let's move on to a 1969 Denver minted Roosevelt dime. Now here's an example of an RPM. So this one is really difficult to see. We'll zoom in here. Now as you see the D mint mark, if you look to the top right above it, so right above it to the right a little bit, now you can see the outline of another D mint mark. So that is very, very cool. So that is definitely an RPM, a repunched mint mark that you should be looking for. Here is that 1969D with that repunched mint mark, and this coin does have a high grade of a mint state 66. This Roosevelt dime sold for over $100 US. So not too, you know, it's not a $48,000 coin, but hey, it's a $100 dime. Here's an example of some doubling. Also look for that on these coins. Here's a 1964 that sold for over $2,400, $2,400 because of its high grade and because of the double die reverse. So very, very cool coin here. Look for that doubling there on the back of the coins. Look for doubling on the front of the coins. Here's another coin that has a double die reverse. It is a 1964 with some amazing looking unique toning to it. And this 1964 dime sold for over $1,800. So a $1,800 coin. Now check out these other dimes that you should always be on the lookout for in your pocket change or in coin rolls from the bank. Alright, so we're going to put some of these dimes underneath the microscope here in just 1 second. This is exactly what you want to look for. This is a double die reverse. So there's doubling taking place on the lettering, and I'm going to go through a few examples of that here in these images here. And you can see the doubling, like I said, right there on the lettering of United States of America. So always be on the lookout for that. And you could also see that there on the torch as well. And don't forget, there are different types of errors that can always take place on any coin, any year. So let's look at some errors before we look at the double die reverse prices, and then we'll put some underneath the scope to see if we can actually find a double die reverse 1970 dime. Alright, so this one here is a 1970. I've showed this in my videos before. Now this has actually been struck on a Philippine 1 cent planchet. You can see that it was made of aluminum, so it's a very light coin. Was struck on a wrong planchet, and you will be able to tell that just by looking at it. And of course this one's way off centered, so it doesn't fit on the coin. And the weight, it's gonna weigh a lot less for something like this. Now this coin here sold for over $1,000. Now this next one is in a proof set here. This is the 1970 dime without the S mint mark. Now I've covered this before, some people get confused. So if you're not familiar with what a proof coin is, please watch my proof coin video and it will explain the difference between a proof coin and a business strike coin. So just because you have a 1970 dime and it doesn't have a mint mark, that doesn't mean that it's the no S mint mark. It has to be the proof dime. If it's not the proof dime, then it's most likely the business strike dime that has the no mint mark, that is supposed to have a no mint mark, because it's made in Philadelphia and they did not place mint marks on those ones. But this here, we're looking at the proof dime that doesn't have the S. It's supposed to have an S mint mark, and that's why these coins are extremely valuable. Now this one here in this proof set sold for over $1,200. Next up are some just different types of errors. This is a 1970D. It's been double struck and then it's been off center as well. You can see that there at the top of the Roosevelt dime. Now this dime here only sold for a little over $75, so nothing too crazy, but still an awesome coin to add to your collection. We'll love to have an error like that in mind. Now this next one is a 1970D with a double die reverse. So that's exactly what we were looking at the beginning, and that's what we're gonna put underneath the scope to see if we can actually find. Now this one here does have a high grade. It's graded at a mint state 66. That means that it is in very good condition, and this coin sold for over $100. Now if we look at another double die reverse, same error, same type of coin, same grade, this one here sold for over $135. Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe in the middle, check out the videos to the left of me, and until tomorrow, I will see you all in the comment section below. This is Couch Collectibles, and this is where I disappear.